10 a.m. here on the West Coast. And tomorrow, Lyft will be reporting its earnings. On Wednesday, I think Uber follows directly after that. 3 things to watch for. Lyft and Uber both report their March quarter results this week, and the coronavirus pandemic is expected to have impacted both significantly. We know that. Now, the person that I was highlighting here, right? This guy, King Lip. His name's King Lip. It's a strange name. In fact, if you Google King Lip, you'll see some very, very weird photos show up, right? This guy, he calls himself a finance and numbers guy, a golfer, photographer. He enjoys classical music, right? He's a chief investment strategist at Baker Avenue Asset Management in San Francisco, and he's an investor. And he is asking, I want to hear plans how to get riders back into car, right? So I wrote, this fool wants us to risk our lives, dollars over lives. Now you may be, I'm extremely opinionated on this topic because we are reaching the peak of the pandemic, right? 3,000 lives on average right now, a day, 3,000 deaths a day. Matt Killian's in the house. How are you? Good to see you. And companies, CEOs, investors, what they're looking at is how do we stop the bleeding, right? How do we stop the hemorrhaging? How do we get monies back into the companies? They, in my eyes, they tend to ignore that, hey, people have filed for unemployment. It clearly states there you qualify up to 39 weeks. They had a game plan, right, to get us to buy time to get us through this, but people can't wait anymore, right? They're impatient, and they are, in my eyes, willing to sacrifice lives, right, and put dollars over lives. This is one of the fools that I want to highlight and call out. Let me just put on some lighting here. Really terrible lighting here today. Here we go. That should make a difference. There we go. So I'm no big fan of this guy, right? Uber and Lyft investors want to hear plans to get riders back in their cars. As US lockdowns and fears of the coronavirus pandemic stretch into a 3rd month, who wants to take an Uber ride? Right now, there's guys out there, right? There's drivers out there. Uber wants us now to wear masks, right? Uber wants riders to wear masks, but we're at the peak here, right? We're at 3,000 deaths a day. And you may have your own opinion on this, right? My opinion is very clear. Try and follow the model of successful countries that have literally sped up the whole process and are allowing people to go to work safely because their numbers are down, right? We did it completely opposite here in the United States. We ignored, we didn't test, we went to beaches, we were protesting, things flared up, and now we're at a situation where we have 3,000 deaths a day, right? And the guy on the top said, well, it could be max like 60,000, now is changing his language, could be 135,000. And the bottom line is that many of these states and businesses are opening up. You may have the same opinion as I have on this. You might think completely different. That's okay. We don't always have to be on the same page. I just say, hey, shut it down, work together, get the numbers right down, and buy yourself some time, and then open up for business. But we're right in the middle of the pandemic, and we are already opening up markets for business. Now, guys like this King Lip guy, he has his own website, right? A couple of pretty pictures on the front here. Here he is at the bottom. This guy is putting relentless pressure on Uber and saying, hey, what are the plans to get the riders back into the cars, right? Remember look at this thinking here. how do we get the riders back into the car? The riders bring us the money. No mention of drivers, nothing. Nothing, zero mention of drivers, completely ignoring it. But how do we get the riders back into the car? Because the riders is clearly showing his intentions. That's where the money is, right? So I'm not a big fan of this strategy because it's going to cost more lives. It's going to put more drivers in the line of risk, in the line of death. And going out there right now, mid-pandemic, 3,000 deaths a day to me is like playing Russian roulette. Now, look, I understand the drivers that have not been receiving unemployment, that didn't get an SBA loan, and they're so desperate for cash that they need to go and drive passengers. I was just hoping that they could maybe do food deliveries. But there's actually people on the road, actually quite a few, driving people from point A to point B. Go Donnycom says, thanks so much. Got my PPP. Yes, money, money, money. How much did they pay you on the PPP? Jesse Morera, 3,000 lives lost today does not mean that we shut down the world, mate. This is not logical. Okay. Jesse, you can carry on with your formula, right? I've already had a clash with you the other day. You've got this me syndrome. I've clearly read it in between the lines. But so you're of the opinion, because we're losing 3,000 lives a day, we don't shut the world. The world shut down smartly, Jesse Morera, and people like New Zealand, Germany, Taiwan got a grip on this, right? We have no effing clue how to handle this situation, right? Our numbers are way off the charts if you compare them to other countries that got a grip on this and did it correctly. And the way they did it correctly is they actually had the testing kits and got it done. So I don't know where you get your literature from, but in my opinion, you're on the wrong. You're reading the wrong book, my friend. So not many investors. Shares of Uber dropped 3.4% on Monday, while smaller rival Lyft tumbled almost 9% ahead of both companies. Quarterly reports this week, their stocks have slid 33% and 42% respectively since February, more than twice the drop in the S&P 500. Samuel Collins, how are you? Mark Routen's in the house. Go Donnycom. Good. Who else we have? DIS75. Big MODC. Thank you, my friend. Hope you're having a great day. Hope your family is safe. Mohammed Khalil. Good afternoon, my friend. Yeah, I agree with you, Go Donnycom. Nobody has a grip on anything, and there's also a second wave. It's because people have different interests, right? Some people will put lives over dollars. Some other states people will put dollars over lives. So we're not on the same page. We have 50 states, and everybody's working against each other. If you look at countries like New Zealand or Germany, where the person on the top makes one smart decision and everyone has to stick to it, and they started early, they caught it early, and now they can go back and enjoy life, and they have minimal deaths compared to the US. Anybody here that's okay with like Jesse Morera is perfectly fine with 3,000 lives lost a day. He says that's okay, right? We don't have to shut down the world. Wait till it hits Jesse Morera's home, right? Somebody in his family, even Jesse Morera himself, gets COVID-19. Come back and talk to us with that attitude. Investors are keen for the companies to outline a path of the crisis as Americans who provide the bulk of the company's revenue consider resuming travel. It's clear to us that business is going to be terrible. Listen to this guy, King Lip here. It's clear to us that business is going to be terrible, right? He's acknowledged that. What we want to hear, this is what he wants to hear. What is their outlook? And are they seeing any indications of a pickup in activity? They're just interested in activity. Just like the title here says, Uber and Lyft investors want to hear plans to get riders back into car. They want activity. Activity means dollars, right? There's no mention here. There's no mention whatsoever of drivers in this conversation. Nothing whatsoever. So what is their outlook? And are they seeing indications of a pickup in activity? Said King Lip, this guy that I'm reporting on, chief investment strategist at Baker Avenue Asset Management in San Francisco. Demand for app-based rides has dropped sharply as governments around the world ordered people to stay at home to combat the spread of the virus, prompting both companies to withdraw their full-year guidance. Data from analysts and interviews with drivers suggest trip requests in some cities were down by as much as 80% in. You just said it, dude. You are so Jesse Morera, you are so conflicting with your messages. I had a back and forth with you the other day, right? You already said you had this. What did you say? Nobody cares about us. That victim syndrome, Jesse Morera. Nobody cares about us. Right. And then I remember going back with you and back and forth with you. And what I read in your messages going, you said, well, at least I stand up for myself. Yeah, you stand up for yourself. It's the me syndrome. It was all about you. It wasn't about the drivers. You didn't stand up for a cause. You didn't stand up for other drivers. Your attitude was me. And you said it again here. 3,000 lives is nothing. The world doesn't have to shut down because of 3,000 lives. I say to you, Jesse Morera, the moment COVID-19 hits you, let's talk again. Loudmouth, right? You all over the show. You disappoint me, man. And you're not even standing in solidarity on you. You're questioning why do this on May the 1st, right? Because on May the 1st, the people were standing up for something. They were standing up for rights. You obviously didn't care a damn. You said, well, why? This is stupid. This is senseless. Nobody cares about this. If you have that attitude in life, Jesse Morera, that attitude in life, nobody cares about us. That's the victim. You feel like the little victim. You got to stand up for something. You got to stand up for you got your tail between your legs. You walk away. Like you said it at the end, at least I stood up for myself. Yeah, it's the me syndrome. And here you are shouting smack that 3,000 lives is nothing. I have no time for fools like this, ladies and gentlemen. I have zero times for fools like this. You don't stand for anything, Jesse Morera. You made it very clear on May the 1st, you don't stand for anything. Your words, I quote you, nobody cares about us, right? That's the classic victim syndrome. You need a good flush, mate. You're not bringing any credibility or anything of substance to this channel. I'm sorry, nothing. Uber's quandary is captured in a TV and online ad here showing a montage of coronavirus lockdowns. Let me just see. Stay at home for everyone who can't. Oh, you guys saw this ad, right? I'm sure investors did not like this ad. I'm sure investors did not like this ad at all, right? That Uber said to the riders, hey, stay at home. This is not what the investors want, right? This is not what they signed up for, right? They want to see cash, and they made it very, very clear here. Let me just read here again the headline: Uber and Lyft investors want to hear plans to get riders back in cars. There's no conversation about the driver, zero. The driver's not even brought up in the equation. Nothing. In an April survey by the IBM Institute for Business, value among 25,000 want to stop completely, right? The interviewing riders. It's very simple because they're looking at the numbers around them, right? They are looking at what's happening around them. And if people are dropping like flies, right, then you don't want to go and subject yourself to this virus and maybe take it home, and maybe like this one Uber driver in London, give it to his family, right? It spreads extremely quickly. So there's a reason why riders and drivers don't want to get into the car. But obviously, my friend here, Jesse Morera, has a different opinion. And when you say this is not lives versus money issue, this is lives versus lives. Our per capita death rate is better than most countries. Most countries are already through the cycle, right? Are you following the cycle? They're already through the cycle. We're already hitting peak numbers that are higher than other countries, and we're not even halfway through the cycle. So you got to keep your facts straight here, Jesse, right? When you say that our numbers are better per capita, we're not even halfway through this. Other countries are already out because they acted 2 months before. Got to look at analytics and study the numbers. I'm talking to you. I'm already have gone back and I've wasted 30 minutes of my time last time with you. Like I said, Jesse Moreira, I have no time for people that bitch and moan about May the 1st, that those people that are doing that out there, those are your exact words. Why participate in the May 1st? Because you don't stand. Why should I go back and forth with you for 30 minutes and waste my valuable time when you don't stand for anything, right? On May the 1st, you stood for nothing. Your exact words, nobody cares about us. If you don't stand for anything, that's it. I can't change you, but I'm not going to waste another minute on you. That's the last breath you're going to get out of me. Because every minute over 30 minutes, I'm wasting my time, right? I'm completely wasting my time with you. James Bear, good afternoon, Sydney, Ohio. Hope the economy is moving safely. Thank you, my friend. Mark, Rideshare 411. Welcome. About Cashful, Uber and Lyft should be paying their driver 3 times more if they want people to go back. Yeah, not only that, I mean, where's the hazard pay? Where's the danger pay? Where, if you are so essential, where's the money? Right? That's what people were standing up for on May the 1st. They were standing up for something. Where's the PPE? If Uber and Lyft have made these promises on the PPE, where is it? They demand from us, so we cannot continue driving unless we're wearing a mask. The riders cannot get in the car unless they're wearing masks, but they're not providing it, right? So people strike for a reason on May the 1st. Some people understand it. Some people don't understand why they strike, right? Very, very simple. So I appreciate the people that go out there batting and clubbing and fighting for other drivers, fighting for the rights. But to have victims in my channel, this victim mentality, right? And wasting my time with an individual, going back and forth, it's a complete waste of my time. I'm not going to persuade that guy. He's okay with 3,000 lives, a cost per day. You know, the world doesn't end there. No, but we can act smarter, right? If you're getting unemployment for 39, if you're getting unemployment for 39 weeks, right? There's a reason for that. They put those figures out there because they want to buy a few months' time. They want to give you the money. Hopefully you get the money. Shut it, slow it down like in other countries. And when that curve is all the way down and the numbers are all the way down, perfect. Then it's the time to reopen up. Germany's opening up restaurants. France is opening up, Spain. But they acted 2 months before us in the cycle, right? Their numbers started, if I'm not mistaken, January, February. We started acting on this thing in March. So we have another 30 to 60 days to go. And I'm not making this shit up. Yesterday, the guy right on the top who said it would be 60,000 deaths changed his outlook to 135,000 deaths. I'm not okay with 135,000 deaths, right? I would want to see all the tests. I want to see testing. I would like to see it done the same way as countries like New Zealand, Germany, Taiwan, Iceland, who got a grip on this like that, right? And now they can enjoy their freedoms, get back their freedoms, and go back because they acted, they stopped it, they worked together, and now they can reap the rewards together. It's not worth it. To me, it's not worth it to go out there and play Russian roulette, get in the car, and maybe there's some, even if he has a mask on, somebody coughs around in my car, that stuff's swirling around. I've got it. I give it to the next family member, or I go out, I go to a shopping center, I cough, I give it to a few people, and it just keeps on going on. You see, we're getting the second wave, these spikes again. But anyway, it's opinions, right? And not everyone is on the same page as this. Half of the people are gung-ho to go back to work. Half of the people are looking at the numbers and say, hey, Looks like we're right in the middle of this. 3,000 deaths a day is atrocious. That's more than 9/11 in one day. That's more than Pearl Harbor. It's like Pearl Harbor every single day. Pearl Harbor is 2,500 people, right? 9/11 was about 2,600 people. That's like having 9/11 every single day. I'm not okay with it. But some people apparently are okay with it, right? And that's why I had to shut this fool out of this channel, because like if that's your thinking, right? If you're okay, you're disrespecting all those other families that lost people. Louis Alum's in the house. They're not going to pay us any extra. They're too cheap. That's for sure, my friend. Greg Burns, I drive Lyft in the Syracuse, New York area. Lyft and Uber drivers are scarce according to passengers. I have several passengers put in my queue that are 20, 30 minutes away. I'm the only driver, it seems. A rideshare helper. Uber don't give a care about their drivers. Never have, never will. Oak Bootsy says Uber has no control. Get drivers back to driver other than increase driver pay or incentives. All right, I'm trying to read out all your remarks as we're going along here. Lyft and Uber recommend face coverings and ask riders to sit in the back seat and open windows during their rides. Okay, they know the shit is going on, but hey, here's their solution. Wear your masks, keep your windows open, and let's drive straight through the pandemic. Okay, that's how they see it. That's how investors see it. Now, they also ask drivers to regularly disinfect their vehicles and have supplied limited amounts of sanitizers. So go and disinfect your car, but you haven't supplied the disinfectants. About Cashful says they should reimburse for buying what you need to protect both driver and riders, but that's 1099 or W9. Thanks, sir. Stay positive and do your best. Absolutely. We tried. Look, it's good to remain positive, right? But at the same time, you also have to be realistic. You have to look at the problem in the face and say, okay, what can we do? What can we do better? GoDonnyCom says, can I have it on their clothes? They can have it on their hands. They don't have to cough. It would be it would be on the person already, right? They get into the car, they already have it on them. So I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to play Russian roulette, and I'm not going to allow anybody in the car, nor am I going to get out and do rideshare until I see the numbers, until I've studied the numbers and I think it's safe to go back, right? Until we can look at that curve, which is peaking out at 3,000 at the moment, until it's really way down here. I'd rather wait a few months and collect the UI, which I'm not going to get, but I'm talking about the average driver. If you're getting that $600 per week, sit tight. Sit tight. Protect your family. Sit tight. When it's ready to go, you can rock and roll again. And I hope it's sooner than later. I really do. Rideshare helper, how about reimbursement for the extra costs associated with these new requirements for drivers? Every dollar is a prisoner with Uber. True. But, that's like extracting water from a stone. Good luck. Good luck on getting money out of Uber. Here they say Uber's advantage could be in food delivery. I definitely see the advantage there. That's where they should focus on, right? That's where they should put all the efforts on. That seems to be the safest way of making money, getting food to, supply lines to the individuals. But driving, no, thank you. That's just me, and you may be of a bit of a different opinion. We need to find out whether Uber's food delivery service is as strong as we think, said Jake Dollarhide, chief executive of Longbow Asset Management, which owns Share and Uber and Lyft. The average analyst estimate for Uber's March quarter revenue has fallen by more than 600 million since early February. Analysts on average expect Uber to report March quarter rose 14% to 3.5 billion and an adjusted loss of 83 cents per share. All I know is that tomorrow's earning reports are not going to be healthy. Why? Coronavirus impact is gonna obviously play a big role in the earnings report. strategic moves, profitability timeline, which they've moved way ahead into 2021 right now. Uber came out big and bold and said, oh, they'd be profitable by 2020. No chance. Absolutely no chance. I think the real bad numbers are not even going to be this Wednesday or Thursday. They're going to be in the next quarter, right? I think they're going to they've just sold divisions of Uber Eats, and they're going to sort of like juice the numbers and fluff the numbers up. The real harm is going to come in the next quarter. Mark Roughton says, I haven't driven for 2 months today. We'll wait it out another 2 months if I have to. I'm 100% with you, Mark Roughton. If I have to, I'll go 4 months. You know what? I'm 100% with your thinking there. I don't have this. The reason why I had to kick this fool out of this room is because anybody that's okay with 3,000 lives, that's a sacrifice. Wait till it hits your own family, and then let's hear you speak the same. Says, I'm not going to allow that type of shit in this room, right? Somebody that says it's sort of like a price you need to pay, right? 3,000 to the children who've lost their father. It's why I'm not going to accommodate this fool in the room. Raul Martinez, I logged into the app. There are plenty of rides, but so few drivers that pickups are more often 17 to 22 minutes. Uber is failing their riders, people not getting picked up, and I love it. I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Raul Martinez. Thank you for sharing. Greg Burns says, some passengers have shared that they are ride-share drivers and took the unemployment. Why shouldn't we just take the easy money and not have to put a drop of fuel in the tank? We are badly underpaid. I'm with you. I'm with you. Listen, you've paid into the system. You've driven your car to the brink of, collapse. You've paid for all of these repairs. You've paid these oil changes. You've paid for probably for a new transmission because you hit 150,000. You paid for tires, right? You've paid all this money out, and you'd be getting cents in return. And then at some point when you see, okay, this is how the companies and the investors talk, they just want the riders to keep on booking and booking. They want the drivers to be out on the front lines. I'm with you on that. Take your unemployment as long as it goes, right? And start using that money. Start looking for other opportunities that actually put money into your pocket. Uber and Lyft is putting less and less and less money into your pockets. It's just not making sense. And that's me speaking after 5 years. I will gladly talk about the glorious, beautiful days, the first 2-3 years, right? Maybe 2015, 2016, 2017, good years where people were earning. But then they figured out more and more and more ways how to extract the dollars and the cents out of your pocket, to the point where their true colors are shown in the pandemic. They just simply don't care, right? There is no hazard pay. There is no PPE. But hey, keep on driving. You're an essential driver. Keep on going to the front lines. I think drivers are smart enough right now, right? I think that they are a little bit smarter than this guy here, King Lip, right? This guy says, hey, show us a game plan, right? King Lip's attitude is, show us a game. He's an investor in San Francisco. He's asking, show us ways how riders can get back into the car. He doesn't care a shit about the drivers. Drivers are irreplaceable. He cares about the riders. He doesn't want to lose the riders because the riders are the ones that make him the money. I have no time for people like this. When you have 3,000 deaths a day and you're using such language. Yeah, let me just repeat this guy's language, right? Let me just make it very, very clear. This is his article written about him. Uber and Lyft investors like King Lip want to hear plans to get riders back in cars, right? That's their game plan. Riders pay us. How do we get them back in the cars? Tell us, Uber. I need to make money. And meanwhile, there is no mention of the driver in this article. No mention. Gus Ontorok says, I agree with RS, take the money and use the time wisely to find other avenues, learn something new. Thank you. Use the time and the money wisely to build something more better, something more meaningful, something more profitable. The money is not in rideshare anymore, unless you have Uber and Lyft going, and you have yourself a private enterprise going, right? Or you have found some niche how to really make money in your name. There are still people that are doing very, very well because they have figured out smart ways, or they've outsmarted Uber and Lyft in certain markets. And as long as that formula works for you and you are still making money, there are drivers out there that were pre-pandemic still making really, really good money because they were working smart. Good for them. A lot of those smart drivers that I got to know were actually from Vegas. I know a lot of people here in LA. These two markets, I spent a lot of time talking about those two markets. In LA specifically, there were definitely ways you could make money, right? Money, I don't think, was necessarily made at LAX or at the airports, but there was ways to make money. There's even more money to be made if you add your TCP or your private license, right? So I'm not like saying, hey, stop rideshare altogether. Continue rideshare if it is only really making you money. But if you're barely scraping by, let me repeat this, if you're barely scraping by, take the unemployment money, right? Create a little fund and start maybe figuring something out. Use that time, buy yourself some time, stay safe. And firstly, stay safe, buy the time, use the money, and build something that will work for you in the future. Go Donny Com says 20,000 investment. You started your own business. You run it how you want to run it. To the hell with it. Correct. I mean, if you have the luxury of having $20,000 ready to go, as he said, you can truly start your own business, and you decide. You're the boss, right? You run the show, so that you're not dependent on these companies, because so many people are desperate that they will work for peanuts. I could not agree more. Please, I don't want people to work for peanuts. I don't want you to grind your car into the ground, run up those repair dollars, and just barely make it each month. Being stressed, you're literally living in your car, you're pushing max hours, you're not taking care of your health, you're putting on a lot of weight. The stress is driving the stress is driving the organs to a max, right? That you can actually visually see in the mirror that you've changed because of rideshare in the last 2 years, in the last 730 days, right? Because you've been grinding it around the clock. You've been driving longer to make up the deficits. Because you're driving longer, you're putting on more miles. Because you're putting on more miles, you have more repairs. You have more frequent tire changes. You have more frequent oil changes, right? That, to me, is not the formula of success. If you find yourself in that hamster wheel, now it's time to step out. If they're paying you the UI, take the UI for the max amount of months, put that money aside, and figure out something that will work for you, right? Please work smart here. Work with me on this one, guys. So Uber's earnings, what's coming up? Let me just grab some water here. This week marks the first anniversary of Uber's public market debut. The year has been a difficult one and won't get any easier from here onwards. Uber's shares are down 8% year to date and 39% since the company's initial public offering on May the 9th at $45 a share. Uber was struggling even before the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they were struggling even pre-COVID-19. And the near evaporation of the company's rideshare business in recent weeks raises concerns that the company will be asked to address on Thursday when it reports first quarter financial. Right? So knowing that they have to get even more creative and have to take more dollars out of your pockets, and they have to gouge restaurants because they're so desperate. Is this truly the company we need to continue working for? Really? Now, as far as Lyft goes, this week investors will get a closer look at just how badly the coronavirus pandemic is impacting the ride-hailing industry. reports its March quarter results on Lyft reports its March quarter results on Wednesday, followed by Uber on Thursday, and investors are expecting rides for both to be greatly diminished and US and global consumers sheltered at home. Shares of Lyft slid 10% on Monday to $26 and are down close to 40% year to date. The coronavirus impact for investors, the first order of business is to get a sense of just how much the pandemic has reduced overall rides. A dramatic drop in airport trips, the closures of restaurants and other destinations, and stay-at-home mandates led Lyft to revoke its guidance for 2020. Uncertainty over the duration of the crisis will make it difficult for the company to make projections, but results and commentary around the second half of March, when US shutdown orders took effect, will give a picture of the overall impact to Lyft's business. So we will find out. We will be receiving numbers tomorrow, what's really going on. We'll look at that. Another point here, they say strategic moves. Lyft has told investors it's taking a number of actions to mitigate the impact of the pandemic and to strengthen its financial position, improve its cost structure, and support drivers and riders on the Lyft platform, according to a press release. On Wednesdays, investors can expect a detailed update on what those actions are and what the implications are for Lyft's balance sheets. Layoffs are likely to be a big part of the equation. The company laid off 982 employees, equivalent to 17% of its workforce, according to an SEC filing last week. About Cashflow says, yep, that's real. They take anything. So, the other thing is, if you look at Uber and Lyft, obviously Lyft's financials are worse than Uber's. Uber still has Uber Eats, which is semi-functioning. Lyft really doesn't have anything except for this alliance that it did with Amazon, where I don't think they're making big money. But both ponds have really, really dried up. Greg Burns says, have you heard any chatter regarding Google's interest to acquire Lyft? I've heard rumors. Sorry, got a frog in my throat. I've heard rumors of Amazon and Google showing interest in Lyft. Who knows when they would make that move? Maybe they're gonna. Maybe the stock price is still too high for them. They've seen that Uber came all the way down to 15. I'm sure that these companies are thinking, okay, maybe next time they hit those numbers again, we might swoop in and buy up. But I don't think the real bad numbers have hit yet. I think that'll come in the next quarter. I think in this quarter, they're going to still try and fluff it up as best as possible. These companies also engage in stock buyback, so they buy a lot of their stock back. They try to inflate it and keep it high. The real shit is going to hit the fan in the next quarter. That's just my prediction. But I've been wrong on many predictions with Uber and Lyft as far as the stock price. So I'm definitely not the go-to person when it comes to stock advice on Uber and Lyft. Those stocks have really behaved strangely in my eyes. Prior to the pandemic, Lyft was targeting the end of 2021 to turn a profit, but now that timeline seems to have been thrown into disarray. Both Lyft and its larger rival Uber were already walking a fine line between increasing capital efficiency and growing top-line results. Given uncertainty in the near term, Lyft may not announce a revision to their profitability target on Wednesday, but in the weeks and months ahead, investors will have a chance to suss out the pandemic's impact on Lyft's profitability prospects, with both Uber and Lyft under pressure to deliver profits sooner than later. And again, the title of my live feed was Uber and Lyft investors. They're the people that are interested in the money. They put in the money. They want to see results. Want to hear plans to get riders back into the cars. There's no mention, not a single mention of what the plan is about the drivers. No, the plan is, hey, get the riders back into the cars. Start up the engines, start up the money. Teddy says, hello, good news. I got my EIDL today. I figured the investors would pop up sooner or later. Yep, they will. They're starting to bark, moan, and cry. But I'm very happy for you, Teddy. That definitely takes, every time somebody reports that they got some money, that makes me happy. That's, it takes a burden off your back, takes some pressure off you, allows you to breathe again a bit. Super important. Dennis Torres, Long Beach in the house, is always about the riders. Correct. The riders pay. As long as the riders pay, you know what, drivers can be replaced. Drivers, we can work out algorithms, how to extract monies out of them. We can learn, we can find creative ways how to misclassify them. In the front seat, always the riders. In the back seat, don't want to sound negative and pessimistic here, but reality is we are in the back seat. And investors, the companies, Uber and Lyft, as well as the riders, are in the front seat. All right, my friends, I am off. I have to go and pick up a trailer. I'm going to check out of this one right here. Thank you on the Rideshare Driving School channel. Shut down that feed over there. Wanted to show you guys something quickly. Sun is out. Fun time. And that's how I'm going to end my feed, with that sign there. That's the peace sign. I wish you all safe and peaceful days out there, right? Don Whitmer walked into the house, Uber and investors still and will never care about the drivers. I mean, they're stressing right now. They're just seeing their money being flushed, $100 notes, $100 notes, just flushed down the toilet, right? And they are stressing out, right? But, David Villa says, you're right, the shit will hit the fan with Uber. The stock will go down to $10. They better change their strategy, pay drivers better and charge the restaurants a better price. Thank you, my friend. You should be running the company. You've got the formula right there, David Villa. Any person can run this company better than Dara Kay or Logan Green, right? Their focus is just in the wrong place. These people are not able to think outside of the box. And if you had hazard pay, if you had got the people the PPE, companies like Home Depot and that, public traded companies, got the PPE to their people right away, day one, right? As the numbers were starting to take off, I walked into a couple of Home Depots. I have videos, and I even applauded. I said to the people, that's awesome. You all have your PPE on. Thank you very much for what you're doing. Thank you that you staying safe and keeping us safe. This is months ago, and we don't have the PPE, right? We have nothing. But they still are finding every single way how to gouge restaurants, how to take $1 here, where what they should be doing is saying, hey, we're coming out, putting our workforce first. Bezos, Amazon didn't learn the lesson. He got smacked down on May the 1st. Instacart didn't learn the lesson. They got smacked down. Their stocks, look at Amazon stock. It's not good. It really, really hurt because the public sympathizes with the people on the front lines in the warehouses. The public sympathizes with the drivers. They say, we're not going to get in the car. The driver may have it. I may have it. We're not going to infect each other, right? So my guess is that riders and drivers are on the same page. Who's not on the same page are companies like Uber and Lyft and the investors. It's all about this. Instead of approaching it the way David Villa said, hey, go out there, get the PPE, get the people the hazard pay them the essential money, and maybe some people will step up and do the job, right? But we are not going to drive for peanuts and put our lives at risk. It doesn't make sense. If you're getting paid cents, it doesn't make sense. Don Whitmer, any idea when hubs might open? I don't think for quite a while, Don. I really don't, right? Because opening up hubs means that Uber will have to man those hubs. Lyft hardly has many hubs, just a few hubs. But if they open up the hubs, right, they probably have worked out something with the landlords who own the buildings. Maybe Uber owns some of the buildings, right? but maybe they had deferred payments for another 2 or 3 months and say to the landlords, hey, we'll make up the money afterwards. So why start up those rentals, right, and man those hubs with people when they got to pay all those expenses? This suits them fine right now. It stops some of the bleeding, but they still have massive. I mean, how many Uber hubs does Uber have worldwide? Many. Teddy says the drivers will get back in the cars when things are safe. That's when your profits will come back. Until then, we must protect ourselves. Very simple, clear formula. Very easy to understand, right? And glad that you said it. The other day, I was having this back and forth with a guy, Jesse Moreira. I was literally wasted 30 minutes of my time, right? Here he marches in again and says, it's like a sacrifice you got to make, 3,000 people a day, right? Those numbers are nothing if you look at them on a global scale. You say that to the kid who lost his dad or his mother, that those numbers are nothing, right? Those numbers are the equivalent of Pearl Harbor or 9/11 each and every single day now. 3,000 people is 9/11 today. 3,000 people is 9/11 tomorrow. 3,000 people plus on Friday is Pearl Harbor in one day. It's a lot of deaths. And then you have half of the states working together, other half of the states protesting and wanting to open up. Wherever you want to stand, let history judge us. Wherever you stand in your state, whatever you believe, if you believe you need to go back to work tomorrow, they need to open up, okay. But let's look back at history in a few years' time. Most importantly, let's look at countries that got it right. Germany, New Zealand, Taiwan, right? Even Russia is doing a better job than we are here. Don Whitmer, notice how the hub employees are probably getting unemployment. 100% correct. They are classified as employees. They are right now. They had no problems. They didn't have to wait till April the 28th in California, or wait till May, or other states are only getting it in May. Texas was late, right? These guys that were employees at the hubs are right now kicking back and saying, hell no, I'm not going into the hub. I'm an employee of Uber. I'm getting my money. They are already getting their money. It was us, right? The misclassified workers, the independent contractors, where none of the states were ready for us. And okay, nobody had ever experienced a pandemic like this before, right? But this forced the issue. The pandemic forced the issue. Treat these independent contractors, or maybe they are employees, or maybe in the future they are a hybrid of both. Do something about them. Help them out, right? So I'm glad this shone the light on the system, because the system was so outdated, so archaic. A lot of these systems were stuck in the 70s and 80s. A lot of these computer programs really need to be updated. So I'm glad it forced the issue. Some states probably just using the old system, still putting a Band-Aid on the old system, slight modifications, right? The whole system needs an overhaul and an upgrade, right? You got to come out with new terminology. We're not employees, we're not independent contractors. What we are, we should create a whole new hybrid category, a new category for gig workers, right? We should have an updated system, all those old computer systems, 1780s out, get it all up to speed, right? Get everything ready, because who knows, maybe this happens again in 5 or 10 years' time, God forbid. But at least then we'll be ready for it. Hopefully we'll have stockpiles of PPE, right? Hopefully we'll have ventilators in place, so that if something does roll around, or the next SARS, or the next COVID, whatever it is, or the next Ebola, we're ready for it. It saddens me, my friends. It saddens me, my friends, that we have to sacrifice 3,000 people a day. That's where we're on right now. 3,000 people a day. Crushes me when I hear those numbers. With over 1 million infections, with over 60,000 deaths, there's no sign of stopping. In fact, numbers are rising in certain areas. I don't want to talk doom and gloom. I'm really looking forward to getting through this and coming out the other side and enjoying life again. This ain't fun. It's not fun for anyone. Greg Burns says, I'm missing records of rides and pay from Lyft. The app was clearly registering the request, pickup, drop-off, and amount earned, but not in my history or account. Are they taking fares? Well, I'm pretty sure, Greg, that wherever they can, they're skimming it, right? They're taking right now because they need the money. And the question is, when did all of that take place? Put a timeline on that. I can believe you when you say that, as you wrote it right there, but put some timelines on it. This happened to me in February, or this was happening to me in January. Thumbs up. I'm on 16. If we can get it to 20, I'll be happy. I'll be back with a few more other videos today. There's a lot of information out. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day. Wednesday and Thursday are going to be big days. A lot of articles will be floating around, and people, especially Wall Street finance people, investors, are going to be looking at the Lyft numbers on Wednesday, and they're going to be looking at the Uber numbers on Thursday. So you are out working this past Saturday morning. Okay, just please screenshot, call them up and, right? Yeah, like they're probably thinking that you're not going to notice. We know what we drove. We know what we're earning. If something's off, something's off. We smell a rat, right? The best 101 now, Uber promised us drivers 1,200 with COVID-19. Proof, they only gave me 490. I have proof by the doctors. That, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I really am. But again, that's Uber. You know, all these big promises that they would take care of the people that, you know, who got sick, and there you are having to go through this, expecting 1,200, you get 490. And then Uber and Lyft are rewriting the laws. Oh, it depends on how much. First, they said depends on how much you were working, how many hours you put in January and February, right, and March. Well, the bottom line is you weren't putting in many hours because there was a pandemic. So they're basing their calculations on your efforts in January and February, when the pandemic was going, right? That's when people were slowing down, and they said, you know, let's rather. So their calculations, their methods are just, it's just horrible how they screw drivers out every step of the way. Sorry about that. You know, that's, you know, you're expecting that, you're getting your doctor proof, you're getting everything, and you're expecting the company to step up for you, and they don't. All right, my friends, I got to rock and roll. I got to pick up some equipment now. I wish you all a good day. If we could rally one more time here. Thank you, everyone. I'm excited to touch base with you back again tonight. We'll make it a little bit longer. This one's just under 1 hour, but got a lot of things to take care of today. So I just wanted to get this out. There are a lot of articles pre the announcements of the earnings, which is, again, Lyft Wednesday, Uber Thursday. So there's a lot of articles out. I reported on this King Lip dude here, one of the investors, who wants to hear plans how to get riders back into cars. So people have different opinions on this, right? Some people are gung-ho to get back in there. Some people say, hey, I've already, like Mark Roughton, I've already taken 2 months off. I'm okay with taking another 2 months off. And when it's safe, I will go back. I'm of the same opinion as Mark Roughton. I really am. We're completely on the same page as the thinking goes, right? As long as you can get monies or unemployment from somewhere and start buying a little bit of time, put a little bit of money aside and start figuring out other ways to become more profitable. Don Whitmer, thank you so much. You have an awesome day. Best 101, have an awesome day. Mark Roughton, have a fantastic day. Teddy, miss you guys. Looking forward to seeing you again. Everyone in the house, all 33 people that are in the house right now, I wish you the very best. Stay safe. You know, keep on doing the drill. keep on wearing the masks, whatever it takes, right? And it's just a question of time. It's just a question of time, and then things are going to get back to normal. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.